Welcome to my channel. This is a place where OP gets served by his wife. Our next Reddit post is from Cold Rush. My wife betrayed me and left me for another man. But now she works for me, so I run a small chain of restaurants around this area. We're not huge, but we're doing good. One day I got a call from my wife saying she wanted to quit her job because she was pregnant and I was going to be a father for the first time. That was really exciting and I agreed. Shortly after she stopped working, she started seeing a lot of friends and going out a lot. It wasn't like her to go out without me, so that raised a red flag for me. When she would come back from her outings, she would always have some BS excuse about why she came home late. There were nights when I didn't hear her come in until 4 or 5 in the morning, and when I confronted her about it, she told me to stop being jealous and controlling. I tried to let it go, but then she started coming home smelling like perfume and cologne, which definitely wasn't hers. Then one night I got fed up and followed her. It turned out she was going to a bar downtown and meeting up with a guy who was definitely not me. My baby, our baby. She got into his car and they drove off. I was so pissed. I sped off before she saw me and went straight to my friend's house. I called her and texted her, and she finally called me saying she was sorry, and she explained that the man I saw wasn't her lover or anything. She said that she just had a female friend named Amy that had recently moved here, and that she needed some help finding an apartment and stuff, and that the man was her friend's husband. She asked me to trust her, and I did, even though it was hard. Time passed, and my daughter was born. She was beautiful, and I loved her with all my heart. I couldn't believe how much my wife had changed over the past few months. She was never around, even during our daughter's first week of life. And when she was on her phone a lot. The only times that she seemed fully present was when she was feeding our daughter. During those times, she seemed almost animalistic, as she would stare intensely at our daughter while she ate. I know that sounds weird. As soon as my daughter was old enough to be on solids, my wife slowly started introducing her to alcohol and spicy foods. I told her not to do that, and she told me to stop being such a worrywart. It was fine. One night I came home and found them both drunk on the floor watching kids' shows together. I told my wife that I was done, and I spent the night sleeping in the guest room. In the morning, I got up and left for work early to avoid having to speak with her. Work, I got a call from my friend asking if I was okay and why I left early. I told him what happened, and he said that it sounded like my wife had developed some sort of Stockholm syndrome with my daughter. He told me to try to get her help and to keep an eye on her. Later that day, I told my wife that I wanted a divorce. She said that she was going to take me to court for full custody. I told her that she wouldn't get any custody if she left me. She told me that I wasn't being a good father, and that she would make sure I regretted this. I shrugged it off and thought nothing of it. The next day, I got up and went to work. Before leaving, I made sure to lock my wife out of the house. I was expecting her to fight me for access, but she didn't say a word. She just stood there fuming while I left. All day at work, I kept getting calls from my wife asking to come inside. I refused and told her to find somewhere else to stay. After work, I came home, and instead of my wife waiting for me, I saw a note that read, "I'm going to my sister's. Don't bother looking for me." I thought nothing of it. That night, I went to sleep at around 2 a.m. I was awoken by pounding on the door. I got up and looked through the peephole. It was my wife. She was soaked to the bone, and our daughter was nowhere to be seen. I opened the door and asked what the hell she was doing here. She explained that her sister kicked her out because she was making too much noise, and that she was worried about our daughter, so she came to me. I let her in, and we went to bed. In the morning, I woke up, and my wife was gone again. This time, she left a note saying that she had taken our daughter to see her sister, and that I would see them later. Over the next few weeks, my wife constantly showed up at my house unannounced, demanding food, money, and clothes for her and my daughter. Sometimes she would stay for a few days, sometimes a week or two, and sometimes she would leave for a couple of weeks at a time. During these times, she would still show up, though, demanding money, clothes, and food. Every time she left, she would take my daughter with her. I was only able to see my daughter 3 days a month, if that. I was so angry. I went to her family and told them what was happening. They basically laughed at me and told me to deal with it. I was getting desperate. I loved my daughter, but I felt like I had no control over her life right now. One night I came home and found my wife passed out on the couch. She had clearly been drinking again. She had my daughter on her lap and she had almost fallen asleep while holding her. I checked my daughter and she was fine. I carried her to her room and put her to bed. When she woke up the next morning, she cried out for her mother. It broke my heart, but I had to tell her that she was at school for now. I took her to daycare and returned home feeling guilty. It was the first time I hadn't seen her since she was a few days old. All day I kept thinking about her and wondering how she was doing. When I picked her up, she was crying again. I asked what was wrong and she told me she missed her mom. I told her that I would take care of her from now on. I brought her home and we watched movies all day. She fell asleep on the couch and I carried her to bed. I slept on the floor next to her. That was the start of our new life together. It's been 2 years since then and she has no memory of me ever leaving. My wife and I are now closer than ever. She doesn't drink or do drugs anymore and she has found a new job. Overall, things are great. Oh, and I also mentioned that I own a small chain of restaurants. Well, recently I've been wanting to expand my business and open another restaurant in a different city. However, I need someone to manage my original restaurants and I trust my wife completely now. So I offered her the job. She accepted, and now she travels between cities to oversee the restaurants. We've been happy ever since. Down in the comments, OP updates us. She isn't my biological child. When I wrote this story, my daughter was almost 3. Since then, she's gotten older and she seems very happy. Her behavior is normal now, and she seems to like me a lot. She's a sweet girl. Recently, though, she told me that she remembers living with her mother, and that she remembers me being there the whole time. I don't think she was lying, but I can't be too sure. Well, regardless, I'm glad that she's happy now. I'm glad to be a dad, and I'm glad that my wife is my wife. The only thing that I regret is that I didn't write this story sooner. I think that this story could have helped other men in similar situations, so yeah, I'm glad it's over now, though. But anyway, that is today's Reddit story. And as always, I'll ask you to do me a big favor. Please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, please don't forget to come back tomorrow for another Reddit story. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.